Hello and welcome, fans. This is Chicago Ted coming to you with the Golden Aegis cast series. This replay is going to be replay ID 717863347. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this one rolling. It's a bit of a throwback to older Dota times, more simple Dota times, as this replay, as you can already tell from the ID, is pretty old. I mean, one of the big things here, check out where Roshan is. All right.
Everybody
so for
get
those of you
set.
who are familiar with how it used to be or how it is right now, you've got Roshan right about here. Now we're looking at the Roche pit happening all over in this direction. Kind of awkward and total. Another big thing here, which I think is a bug just by how old the replay is, we're for some reason getting flying vision of the entire area around the towers, so not quite sure why that's the case. And these towers do seem a little bit bigger to me as well, but as I said, not sure why that's the case, but I do know. Yeah.
30 seconds to showtime.
Oh, no, man. Okay, so this is way old in terms of how replays are nowadays, but without any further ado, I mean, it's a game. A game's a game. So it looks like everything is flying. We don't even have... Oh, God. All right, this is going to be interesting, but whatever. It is going to be for the Dire team. Fresh D on the Legion.
The game is on.
On the Phoenix. M0 will be playing the Ember Spirit with AQ on the Rubik and Fearchen on the Tiny. Meanwhile, for the Radiant, it's going to be Forsaken playing the Ursa. Looks like he might be starting the jungle. Nope.
Regeneration.
4E6 YPEK in the bottom lane with him on the Omni Knight. Meanwhile, P4NE Kex is going to be playing the Zeus with Boo Buzzy B. Boo Buzzy B. Okay, he's going to be on the line, and Epic is on the Weaver. So the annoying little bug by a name that I'm not quite sure I'm pronouncing correctly, but we'll roll with it anyway. Kind of hoping Tiny becomes visible as time goes on, as he does grow, but as it stands right now, we'll have to deal with what we've got. So, taking a bit of a throwback to this sort of meta, so trying to get an idea, rather, of what is going on. I mean, obviously the skill descriptions are not going to be correct. I mean, this back before in range was changed like this, so a lot of things that are going to be happening differently in these games. This might actually be the meta where Ember Spirit was considered to be way overpowered. We'll have to keep an eye on that as time goes on. Obviously, we can't be that long ago because there's a Phoenix and a Legion commander in this game. Speaking of Phoenix doing a pretty good sum of damage to Ursa, coming down those spirits. You can already see Forsaken taking about half of his HP level off because of that, so he's got to be very careful about the harassment by the way of the Phoenix. And you can just see he sits there, right clicks, and nothing more to be said about it. Meanwhile, mid lane, Zero taking a bit of damage from Zeus, but as time goes on, he shouldn't be that bad. Now, Ember Spirit can go the multitude of different ways, but because he's going up against the Zeus, perhaps Flame Guard might be the best option for him. And it already looks like he's going for the 102 build.
You have been
Probably
denied.
gonna be maxing out his Searing Chains and Flame Guard just as a result of the Zeus's damage output this game. So, more things to be careful about. We're going to see Lion go for
Dire's mid tower won't last much longer.
Gotta be very careful. I mean, he's already got a pretty low mana pool, so he's got to be incredibly careful about the amount of mana that he can actually do in the lane, especially if he has no stun, no way to deal with it. So, P4NE is gonna know that there's an Invis Zeus Invis Rubik. He throws out the lightning bolt. That's about all he can do right now, as Rubik is constantly Invis on top of him. So. You just got to play it very safe in this game. Make sure he doesn't walk too far forward, as all that can happen is Rubik gets the telekinesis off, and then there's the telekinesis. Waits until he's out of range of the creeps, but he definitely gets off. And
First blood, folks.
My pride.
First blood? What is this? I came here to be tested.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
Knowing the telekinesis could have very well come out was a major point for him in that lane.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart.
So, as it's going to last right then and there, it looks like we've got a bit of a pause coming out for this game, but first blood will go the way of the Dire, with the Radiant falling behind just a little bit, though. In the actual flow of the game, hold on, we'll go ahead and skip right past these pauses here.
All right, carry on.
There we go. So in the general flow of the game, I don't think it's going to make that much of an impact. I mean, first blood going the way of the Ember is huge. It's a really good thing to
Dire's
have,
top tower.
but it's in no
You know
way
the drill.
a crippling or an overly crippling factor of this game. And speaking of, Fearchens might be in a little bit of trouble. A return kill is actually going to go the way of the
Dire's
Radiant,
top
putting
tower's
themselves on the
gonna
board.
be down.
3.5 minutes in, not long after first blood went down, and that's on the safe lane carry, who's been doing this one pretty much solo. In the bottom lane, you're already going to see Calc does go down to Forsaken. They chase in the fresh D, but it looks like he's going to get himself away. And so Forsaken seems to be having a pretty simple time in this lane. He's went for the boots first. He's got his stout shield out and about. So he's okay to just be sitting up ahead of the game, throwing down the harass now. Hasn't gone for that Orb of Venom. However, this might be when Fury swipes. Was it ever a unique attack modifier? Yes, it was. That's why Vlad's was popular on him and not straight into the helm or into the Morbid Mask. So I guess that's a major point about this Ursa. He can't quite go for those slows, but Urshock is a fairly good slow in and of itself, and P4NE kicks is going to die here. All he needs is a Searing Chains, comes out, 2 points in that, 3 points in the Flame Guard. Zero's just going to chase, but for P4NE, he gets himself away, and Zero actually might go down. Another shot comes in. It's the Lightning Bolt, though, that'll send him skyward, or at least from the sky down back to Earth in spectacular fashion. So AQ's made his way up top. He did gank that middle lane, and it looks like he's going to take a more permanent position by his Tiny, realizing that Tiny can't exactly 1v2 this. And I mean, you can see the mana drain working both ways. Still can't see this Tiny, though. We're just going to have to deal with it. It's just very interesting. But having the mid lane go down like that, kind of an awkward TP, purple and yellow. It looks really cool, by the way. But having it go down quite like the way it did might be a major issue, because you don't want to let the Zeus get out of control. Even though you've got the Flame Guard that can burst that can block out a lot of that magical damage, it still is going to be a major problem if you're not careful. And I mean, one of the major things that
Middle lane is missing.
the Ember Spirit has to deal with, and that usually he can't hold on. He's going to go ahead and Remnant on forward. Another Remnant fly suit does a significant amount of damage, but the 2 Remnants leave him without mana. Now he has a Searing Chain, going to throw him out. Still the Flame Guard going, and he finally swipes down the Zeus, but after quite a bit of a chase. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Fresh D could be taken down here. Forsaken diving under the tower. These a couple more hits, goes for the Urshock, and then the Overpower, which cancels out one of the auto attacks. He can get close. It might be a major issue for him. He's going to get in, get 1, get 2, and he brings him down, but he's going to go down himself. As Phoenix, quite an awkward Sunray there, at least for us, the viewers, but as it ends up being a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane, not quite a trade you want to be doing. Booba ZB will be brought back through a telekinesis underneath the tower. Goes ahead, throws out the Hex, though. And AQ might actually drop here. Epec goes underneath the tower. Doesn't go for the last auto attack. Instead, he hesitates. And because that, he's going to actually die there. And actually, it may have been the Avalanche that stopped it. I don't think we're seeing anything from this Tiny, but we can extrapolate a little bit about it. Meanwhile, it looks like Zero, he did come bottom looking for a gank, but not able to find it. Forsaken, though, could be in a little bit of trouble. Runs towards the mid lane, but he's underneath an Observer Ward right now. And Zero's going to spot him, but does he go for him? He's got to be careful. A huge amount of physical damage can come out. And, well, he's going to go ahead, turn out, Earthshock, overpower himself back in. The Searing Chain's going to lock him out. Fresh D's in close by as well. And Rage flies out, and he's going to turn around and do some damage, but it's not going to be enough in the end. And now a Thunder God's Wrath flying through, dealing significant damage to the 3 of them, but
bottom towers
not going to bring any of them down. Meanwhile, it looks like Booba ZB going to take all of AQ's mana. And meanwhile, P4NE Kex is going to come in from the back lines. Only needs 1 more bolt. 3 seconds to go. But can he quite find the vision? Walking around the trees, not going to take a tower hit. Throws down the bolt, will get the kill. And he still doesn't take any damage from the tower. Okay, fine. One shot. But a nice kill going the way of the Zeus, and Rubik getting taken down a peg there.
The Dire might want to mine their top
So as
tower.
far as, Forsaken comes in, enraged, turns around, does some pretty significant damage to Fresh D, but not quite able to chase him up.
Dire's top
Now Fresh is going to
tower,
turn around, but
you know
Forsaken
the
hitting with the speed of nothing. And comes a repel as well as a Purify. And Forsaken will just
Dire's
turn
top
and
tower's
wreck
getting beat down.
Fresh D, mauls him like the bear he is. Now they're going to dive under tower, looking for Calc. Another Purify comes out, but Forsaken could be in a lot of trouble here. He's going way hard in for this one, overpowered, but in comes the Avalanche. And now for 4e6 height, he needs to back himself off, but Zero's in close by. Repel comes out,
Dire's
but
mid
Kite
tower's
is
having technical
well
difficulties.
in the wrong neighborhood right now, and they'll continue to dive in for him. The Flame Guard should bring him down. It looks like, yep, they got him. Fearchin comes in, goes for the toss into Zero, but it's already a dead Omni Knight, so 6-7 is what it ends up being about 9 minutes into this game. And as far as any sort of lead goes, it looks like the Dire are pulling themselves out with a decent experienced lead. The Radiant close enough to Zero that it shouldn't really matter, but both leads not really meaning all that much in a game like this. 10 minutes in, only having about a 100 GPM and not even for an experienced lead is, I mean, it's there. It's a lead. You can never discount a lead, but it's small enough that the game isn't really decided or even heavily favored either way,
Radiant's
rather.
mid tower's
Opens up a
getting
lot of
banged up.
possibility. M0 is going to come in, dual Remnant to find B Busy B, and we'll go ahead and grab him. In comes the Earth Spike, though, just to slow him down a bit, but the kill is going to happen whether he likes it or not. And it looks like Rubik might be stealing Scoochie here, does get it. Opens up a lot of potential for him to find pickoffs where he needs to. I mean, being able to telekinesis out without warning is amazing on a hero like Rubik. Telekinesis being a pretty decent stun, or lockdown, I guess, at its bare bones.
Getting banged up.
Will be turning into a stun, though, if you can find multiple units with the pull back to Earth.
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
Before any. Just looking out for Fearchen. Looks like they're waiting for the 2-minute rune, maybe. I mean, it's 30 seconds past the minute, or 30 seconds past the 2, so I guess not. But as far as farming goes, Radiant holding the top of the CS board, though not shortly followed by a mass amount of the Dire, though. About 40 last hits at 10.5 minutes. Nothing really to be super ahead in this game, but as far as relatives are speaking, or speaking in terms of one another, it's higher than a couple of the other guys, so it's not too bad. A Thunder God's Wrath comes out, looks for the Invis Rubik, but isn't quite able to find it. Now for any Kex in a lot of trouble. Do they have a duel? It looks like they did, but they didn't cast it. Instead, a Supernova flies out, but the Purify will save his life. Now for a 6K, we'll go ahead, drop the duel, or a Fresh D drops it onto him. Fearchen goes down in the meantime, or does he? There's going to be the toss-up, brings him back down. Now P4 any Kex gets himself in the wrong neighborhood trying to help out, and will end up going down as well. So they get him out, they save his life, they lose Omni, but then 2 more go in and gave their own lives up for what seems to be just a tiny. And Zero, go ahead, TP back, Remnant himself back in. Not losing a lot of time on his farming. He'll be able to come right back, full HP, full mana, and just farm the hell out of everything else on the map and try to pull himself ahead like that. He's actually going to come right back, Remnant onto E4 EPEC. It looks like he wanted to go in for the Searing Chains, but wasn't quite able to find it. He knows where he is, though.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Kind of extrapolate on his position. If EPEC reveals one more time, all he needs is a Sleight of Fist Searing Chains, but he's not going to find it. Instead, lets the Weaver get away. Meanwhile, Forsaken again chasing towards the Tier 1 tower. Earthshock comes in, and Calc is actually going to drop because of this. Forsaken grabs another quick kill. And it looks like Phoenix will go down because of it. His usage of Enrage is really making me wonder whether or not this is pre or post change. I mean, it might be really bugged watching a replay, although having the current... I mean, the map changed just fine, although that would be kind of weird if it didn't. But imagine things like that saved in the replay, though, so maybe this is like that, so... Whatever the case, P4N is going to go ahead chasing the AQ, but he gives us away. A toss-up Avalanche, and they'll bring him down. It's a little bit too antsy. I'm still trying to look for any indication of whether or not these changes are the way they are. Is there an act? Yep, upgrade about Aghanim Scepter. I mean, I guess it's not all that important right now. What's important is what's actually happening, but hold on, Forsaken's going to run face first in the Fresh D. They pop the repel onto him. He turns. He wants AQ. And he will go ahead and find him. He's going to get Guardian Angel, but that does not help versus the raw burst damage of the Tiny. Now Forsaken continuing to dive in. Really wants AQ right now, but he's in a lot of trouble. Will finally bring down AQ. No, the duel comes out. And Legion Commander gets herself a kill. Thunder God's Wrath, though, will bring down AQ in the end. They pop a dust, they spot out EPEC. They're going to go ahead, go for the press the attack. But it doesn't look like they can catch up to him anytime soon. Instead, it looks like a Fresh D is going to go for a Blink Dagger. Hoarding up about 1,800 gold and only really having the power trades in the Soul Ring. Now, interesting build, though, again, I can't quite pin down what the meta was for this time.
Radiant's top tower
It's kind of hard to judge analytically what's going on if you're not quite sure of what we're kind of in here. But it's going to be a two-man, no, just one impale. No, that gets a two-man, sets up the Finger of Death. Calc now turns around, goes to the Sunray. As Fresh D is looking for the duel, can't quite find it on the B. Now they're going to go ahead, replicate in, or Remnant in with 0. Throws another one out, gets a Searing Change on the 46 hype. And he will get brought down because of it, but Busy B being in that repel will survive for the time being. Though, 0, he's got the drum charges, continuing to chase onto the Lion, will get juked out, but Busy B, he ends up turning around, getting himself found, and comes T4 Kex, though, maybe looking to turn this one around, but won't be able to do so. Meanwhile, it looks like this isn't as long ago as I thought, because a Mask of Madness comes down to Ursa. In fact, this could be right after the patch that I was thinking about. Though, again, this is a very, I mean, the number for the replays we've got going on right now are almost twice what this is, so I'm not quite sure. Either way, teleport's coming in. Looks like they want to defend their tier 1 tower, but they won't quite do so successfully. Meanwhile, press the attack, flies through, and comes Forsaken, though he is repelled. He's looking for Calc. An Icarus dive flies away. IQ not coming in. Goes to the telekinesis, will pick Ursa up, put him back down. This is 0 now on the run, but he gets hexed up. Now still has a Flame Guard rolling, will end up going down. Here comes the Supernova, will help secure in on EPEC as Fresh D grabs himself another duel win. Another Icarus dive, and Calc doesn't seem to be done with this one just yet. Ends up being a 1 for nil so far, but in comes the Remnant. M0 looking for more, he wants 4K hype, and looks like might bring him down. Now the Purify finally goes down. Forsaken comes in, not pocketing the Mask of Madness, but rightfully so. Takes a lot of damage, will still end up going down in the long run. Meanwhile, P4 Kex getting chased. Mr. Zero looks like he might have wanted to commit a Remnant. May have been able to actually get the Searing chain, or a Sleight of Fist Searing Chains off, but opted not to go for it. Instead, backing himself off, continuing on this tower as BBCB will reveal himself from the trees right in the name of Fear Trend. And he will get brought down, an Avalanche Toss combo. No shortage of damage for that Lion. They really wanted to bring him down. Meanwhile, EPEC comes on in, looks for Calc, turns himself around, instantly nopes, and instead goes back to farming out this tower. 11 to 19, and where I said maybe a 1K or so lead wasn't big enough, it looks like the Dire listened. They've extended it to about a 7,500 gold lead, a 7,500 experience lead. Still, nothing that ends a game, but it's quite a huge lead to have to play against. Now they're going to pop a dust, go in for the duel, but Fresh D doesn't seem like he's got quite the timing on it. It looks like Weaver didn't get hit by the dust anyway for it to matter. They'll give away a kill there. Perhaps a bit ambitious to pop a dust that early. Meanwhile, Fearchin with 2 points in his grow. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to spot this Tiny anytime soon. Maybe if he gets an Aghanims, we see the tree. AQ, though, pokes down the Sentry Ward, telekinesis up, and they'll go ahead and get another duel win. The toss hits on the Fresh D. Looks like they're not quite done. Blue Busy might be in a little trouble. Throws out the Aerospike, will hit the Fearchin as they repel him up and get him out. Forsaken then pops into his Enrage. Looks like he wants to chase, but there's not quite a lot of fighting they can do. He throws out the Earth Shock, but it won't connect. Instead, Avalanche Toss combo, we get brought down. Now the Fish trying to run away, turns right back around as P4 Kex, throws out the Thunder God's Wrath, and Last Will and Testament coming out from him. Blue Buzzy B now with an Earth Spike trying to preserve his own life, but it looks like Remnant on in, and Zero will bring him down as well. A 3-0 is what it ends up being. In the meantime, the Radiant still not quite able to find a foothold. They got those 11 kills, hoping for a decent advantage off the back of it, but now it just seems like they can't win a fight. They're getting brought down systematically and brutally each time, and the Radiant, each time they're getting dual wins. They're getting, well, of course, the golden experience, but the dual wins is the major one. Having 40 damage stolen already at 18 minutes, closing into the 20-minute mark. 2 damage a minute is a fine place to be at for the level 1 duels, though now she's gotten level 2, meaning she's getting a little bit more each time. If they really start accelerating, finding more of these pickoffs, the duels are going to get more and more effective, and I mean, she's just going to get so much more damage. Forsaken comes in with the Earth Shock, though he's got the repel, they can't quite lock him down. The duel comes out, though. It looks like they want to find, and they get EPEC, or AQ rather, as EPEC doesn't have going down a similar stroke. Now Forsaken, Legion Commander turning around, bringing him down as well. Oh boy, it ends up being a 2-for-1 right now. Running on in, Mr. Zero wants another kill. Can he go for the slight chains? It doesn't look like he goes for the slight. Instead, throws the chains out immediately. Now 4A6 gets a perfectly timed repel to get himself away from the avalanche, though I'm not sure he gets away from this one, and he doesn't. Fresh D did get that dual win that we mentioned not too long ago, though there is a tier 1 still standing top that opens up a great objective for the Dire to take. Almost hand-picked and delivered to them after that fight. Exactly what you want out of fights like this. Win a fight, grab a tower. Win a fight, grab a tower. Win a fight, get Roshan, break the high ground, something like that. Anything that's an objective base, and you can get pretty far ahead. And so, it looks like Radiant hitting a bit of a wall here. Dire, though, not looking like they want to slow down anytime soon. Again, Legion Commander with 54 damage. If they start slowing down, that's when her effectiveness starts going down. They need to continue to try to find these duels, and it looks like they will do so. On to EPEC. Can he get the duel off? Not in time. Fearchin just doing way too much damage. One of those times where maybe a little more communication, maybe stunning him out and setting up the duel instead of going for the immediate burst would have been the play, but Earthquake comes out. Now we might see a little bit of initiation on the Zero, but he gets himself away. They've got to press the attack. Goes out for the chain slight. The fit chains will not hit. Supernova flies out, dissuades Radiant from further engaging. Now they turn around. Can they start to make this happen? Forsaken, no blink, still with Mask of Madness. P4 with Hex goes on in. Earthquake comes out. No bring down Fearchen. Now Forsaken, with Tiny out of the way, he wants blood. Will turn into Fresh D, and this should be a kill. Turns around, goes for the overwhelming odds, but Searing Chains will try to stop this one from him coming any further, although with the Hex out from B Buzzy B, that sets up just more kills. Zero will remnant out as much as he can, but he's slowed down from the Degen Aura, and Forsaken isn't done. P4 Kex, though, will grab a double kill, getting both Ember and Phoenix. Hulk and Mr. Zero taking a pretty heavy hit there, and the Radiant pulling a very good fight off the back of a couple maybe not so good ones. And you can see, though we won't throw the term throw lightly, that was a 12k advantage that the Dire had accumulated.
The Radiant
4 to 5k each in about golden XP. Gone towards the north now. It isn't quite passing the equilibrium point, not even crossing the halfway lead point. It still is a little bit of a warning to the Dire that, hey, you still haven't won this game yet. You still need to play like you'd play the game normally. Don't give any, don't take any bad fights. Pick your engagement smart, with a steady head, and I mean, don't try to press too much. You see a lot of hesitation coming out from the Dire, too. Whether or not they want to stick around to fight, whether they think they've got it, or they think maybe this isn't a bad idea. I mean, that lag time between when you're presented with a situation and when you make the decision about it can mean the difference between winning and losing a game. And in that last fight, it seems like that made a very huge difference, though. Fresh D completing the armlet, going for another Glove of Haste, so perhaps a Maelstrom after that. And though I won't say the Dire are in a bad position, I think they really do need to think about this a little more. Hex comes out. B turns the Legion into a fish. In comes Forsaken. Oh, they get the Earth Spike as well. He's in a lot of trouble. Forsaken comes out. Fresh D will get brought down.
A loss so small.
The rest of the Dire coming on in, but this is what I'm talking about. Not knowing when you can or can't take a fight. They'll bring down AQ. Icarus Diamond from Calc. Maybe a bit over-aggressive again, and he'll get brought down. Forsaken with a double kill off the back of that fight. And now he goes in for the Roshan. I mean, yeah, I guess this is post-enrage change. Might have to go back and take a look at some of the notes going on because I'm losing track here.
Radiant put old Roach down quick and clean.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that happened earlier this year, like spring this year is when they changed Enrage, right? And taking a look at it, I mean, this replay was almost, what, 700 million replays ago? I don't know. We'll have to, again, we'll have to just kind of ignore these facts right now and keep an objective eye on the game at hand. As we're 19 to 27. And as far as the teams go, I mean, Dire still holding on to a pretty decent lead. Another duel comes down to B, but Freshly not hitting quite enough. Finally, they'll bring him down. And that's another duel win going the way of Fresh D, but in comes Forsaken, wants Zero. Searing Chains comes out. The Zero could end up dropping. He throws out the remnant. He's able to get himself out of there. Meanwhile, Forsaken goes down, and it looks like maybe they want to continue to take this fight here. No one's really coming to Forsaken's aid. Now they come in with a Repel, a Guardian Angel. Do they turn and fight, or do they continue running? It looks like Radiant are not going to try to push this one any further. Instead, they get themselves out when they can, and Fresh D coming in, trying to save AQ's life. 14 seconds to duel, but finally in comes Epec, goes in with the Scoochie. Fresh D might be in a little bit of trouble, looking for some kills. He finds it. Can he quite find the duel that he's looking for? Supernova comes out. Forsaken will end it.
2 down.
As another duel ready to cast, but Fresh D not quite finding the opportunity to do so. Instead, looks like the Dire might go ahead and try to break base for the first time in this game. 25 minutes in. Looking pretty good for them. They'll get up onto the high ground, do significant damage to that tier 3 tower. And Ember Spirit's got his Battle Fury ready. 25 minutes into this game, Phase Drum's Battle Fury. Looking great on farm, and if things maybe start going south for them, I mean, he's got the bailout to turtle out if he needs to. I mean, Ember Spirit does still hold his own base very well. Granted, he's got a couple, either a couple Battle Furies, a couple Daedalus, or both, but if they can slow Siege up, continue to put pressure on Dire's side of the map, or Radiant side of the map, and farm everywhere, then they should have a pretty easy time continuing to secure Ember Spirit that sort of lead. And Epec, can they get the duel off on it? It looks like Fresh D will get it, but do they have enough damage? It looks like maybe not. They're going to go for the counter win here. They don't quite get it, but Fresh D will still go down in the end. AQ stealing Scoochie will try to get himself away. Zero's on in, but that's a Repel on Forsaken. Does Zero have a Remnant out? He does not. He sends one in, though. The Earth Shock slowing him down pretty majorly. Forsaken with the blink, but it will be misdirected. Meanwhile, AQ still trying to create space with his Scoochie. Will find P4 Kex. The bolt comes down, but it will not do much. Hold on, Avalanche Toss combo. P4 Kex gets brought down. Fearchen getting a Mask of Madness on the Tiny. Also has an Aghanim Scepter. But it looks like trouble on the Rubik front. The Grand Magus getting brought down, turned into a fish beforehand, if that isn't insult enough. Forsaken still chasing on a Zero. A Remnant comes back, splitting Forsaken's focus here. If he continues to go in, he might have to worry. Hold on, Fearchen comes in with the Avalanche Toss and will bring down the very aggressive Ursa. The bear gets himself caught in unfamiliar territory. And there's Tiny and Ember Spirit just flexing their muscles, showing why that land is their land. And so the Dire, they begin their push up towards the top lane now. The middle lane didn't actually get broken, as it seemed it may have back not too long ago. Instead, The Dire are now going to shift their focus up towards the top lane. It's the only remaining outer tower on the Radiant side of the map, and the Dire really want to take it for their own. Lots of gold to be stashed away in towers like these, and looks like Radiant doing a pretty good job pulling the creep wave back, defending the tower the best way they can. And the Dire struggling to push in just a little bit. Maybe we start to see some cracks in their lineup make themselves evident. I mean, although the Ember Spirit's a really good base defender and Legion Commander's a really good ganker, neither of them really are strong in those sort of mid to late game fights, and they're going for the dual pickoff. They finally bring down BZB, but that's not the kill you need. Omni Knight now, that's one of the kills you could actually use, and he'll have buyback in the end.
Radiant's top towers.
You really want to get rid of this Ursa, though. He is the main issue. Ursa, and I guess it's Weaver now. EPEC with the Hand of Midas is pulling a lot of gold out of this map. He's got his Lincoln Sphere at the ready. And you can already see AQ looking for that telekinesis, immediately blocked out by the Lincolns. A value pickup, if at the very least, and we'll have to see how many more times it potentially saves his life like that. I mean, that telekinesis didn't quite protect him from dying. I mean, I think he still had the time lapse ready to go, so
Dire's mid tower could use a little
he
help.
may have still been fine, but having that bailout option so that you're never put in a situation where life or death, the boundary between is great. That's a good item in my eyes. So
Dire's courier
help him out a lot. Not quite that many needs for a BKB. A lot of the Dire are some of the Dire is single target. However, BKB spells that would be good to have, or spells that would be good to have a BKB to counter. For what's this health bar? Whatever. Perhaps the Supernova, anything that the Ember Spirit has to throw out as well. All things that you might have to be careful of. Forsaken now, popping into Enrage, will maybe start to make his attempt. They go ahead and they repel him. He drops in on the Fearchin and will bring the Tiny down. Meanwhile, duel win on the BZB as EPEC on the run. Forsaken comes in though and starts laying into the Legion Commander. Brings her down. M0. Does he have a remnant out? It does not look like that. Instead, turning on the Searing Sleight of Fist out. EPEC could be in a little bit of trouble. He does not have any more time lapse. He already spent it that last fight. He'll go ahead and grab a kill as the Supernova gets popped by Calc and will be immediately denied there. Forsaken grabbing a triple kill in 0. As I said, the lack of mid-game fight may be making itself a little apparent. One of those cracks we were talking about. Does great for the turtle defense, but pushing is so damn hard, especially up high ground, especially into a Radiant team. Whereas you're defending against the push, maybe they're ahead, they're surrounded by creeps. Sleight of Fist can deal a lot of damage over a spread out area. When you're attacking like that, cleave almost doesn't matter. Instead, what matters is being able to get up there, lock down a couple of units, and bring them down. Fight, stun, do everything you need to do. And the problem with Ember Spirit becomes, well, you've got Phase Drum's Battle Fury. You're dealing 160 damage, but the only way you can get up and deal that damage is if you Sleight of Fist. So imagine you can only do one attack every, 6 seconds? Which ends up being a major problem because they can only go up, they can only get this chip damage. And what does Radiant do whenever he does that? Well, they just walk back to Fountain, or they mech up, or they do whatever they need to do. And then they've got a 6-second window where the Ember Spirit, he can't stand up and man fight because it's an Ember Spirit. If he tries to man fight, he just gets destroyed. But if they remain the way they are, then you take a fight, it's essentially 1v4 if there's no Ember Spirit ready to fight. So Dire having a bit of an issue pushing in to the Radiant's base. Meanwhile, the Radiant winning a couple of base defense fights, really setting them up for the pretty heavy comeback. And you kind of see, oh, hold on, a duel comes in the BZB. Another win is what it apparently is. And Fresh D going for the 110 damage, but now he himself might be in a lot of trouble. Turns around for the overwhelming odds, but they have a bash. He continues to chase in, but the armlet comes out. Fusion helping him out as well. They'll bring down the Ursa. A killing spree getting demolished, but in comes EPEC. He tries to find a kill. He will grab the Legion Commander, but he himself will go down. No buyback onto him. 750 gold going the way of Fearchen, who is going to have his Assault Cuirass out very soon. in the Dire, though it seemed like they had lost a little bit of advantage, only a little bit of experience lead about a couple minutes ago. Gold lead still approaching the five,
Radiant's top
yeah, the
tower's
five-figure
taking
mark,
hits.
but it went back down to about 8,000, 7,000. Now is all the way getting close, approaching the
Radiant's
10,000
top
once again.
tower's hurting.
Mr. Zero solo pushing, though he's got a couple of remnants, just one hanging back for him. If he finds himself caught in a pickle, do the Dire or do the Radiant have any silences at the ready? It looks like all they have is a Hex. And I guess that's potent enough. The Weaver going for an Oblivion Staff. Now, I don't want to say that's an Orchid, but that's the only thing Oblivion Staff builds into now that doesn't build into Refresher's Orb. So perhaps he's going to build into an Orchid just to counter that Ember Spirit, and I wouldn't put it past him. So Roshan will get spotted out by Tiny. Is there another one of those Tiny illusions around? Because it looked like... Yeah, there it is. I'm seeing something. I'm seeing a little blue dot. It's a blue cube. Tiny, literally tiny. Finally, a blue cube will get taken down, but it looks like Dire, aptly the color red of all their heroes here, will go ahead and they'll bring down the big guy himself. A very intense fight. You can see the three of them wailing on. And wait! You can see Tiny. The embodiment of Tiny. It's a cube. It's a little cube. Oh, that's not Tiny. Okay. So, yeah. That's certainly something I don't think I've seen before. Though, as far as some of these replays go, I've been seeing quite a few kind of awkward little bugs here and there, so... As I said, not something I've seen before, but I'm in no way surprised. It looks like Dire will once again commence their push, this time in the bottom lane. Come on. Look at that thing. Looks like Tiny's infinite mass just collapsed in this one little cube. So dense that you can see all the farm just getting sucked into it. And every now and then you can see the radiation from either side, though it really is a Mask of Madness particle effects. It's... I don't know, I think I'm getting too far ahead of myself right now. Either way, Dire, once again, will start to siege onto the low ground. The Forsaken still not looking like he's going to take this one sitting down. How's their GA coming along? It looks like they're working towards that Aghanim Scepter on the Omni Knight, but it just isn't coming very quickly. Zeus, with an Oblivion Scepter, he put into an Orchid of his own. Forsaken comes on in. It actually looks like they bring down the Tiny in no time at all. They bring down the Tiny and Fresh D. An Aghanim Scepter. Forsaken comes back in. But what can he do versus, or Fusion rather, what can he do versus Forsaken? He gets hexed, Calc is already down, and now Fearchen will get brought to justice along with him. And, okay, Rurik didn't steal the Venom that the little broodlings go. Instead, he stole Scoochie. That's kind of weird. Not sure what just happened there, but whatever. Epec gonna make his way on in. Zero now on the run. Does he have any remnants out? It looks like he does, but he's not gonna spend them just yet. Instead, getting himself brought down is going to be remnants himself in. Maybe he can get himself out. Remnant back on in. And he gets the jukes. Outplays, but he's gonna go down to the neutral creeps. No, the poison, not enough. He's got the flame dart. Remnant himself back out, looking for the TP, but can the stun come in? They get the hex. And so, Mr. Zero will be brought down as well. AQ revealing he's got the TP. He'll get himself out. In the meantime, Forsaken up onto the tier 3 tower, though there is some respawning coming out from the Dire. It looks like he won't complete this tower. Though he will get some pretty decent damage out on it. Especially with the siege creep also hitting. They can get quite a bit down. And meanwhile, the Ursa will finish up the Abyssal Blade. Okay, this is not Orchid. This is instead a Refresher's Orb. So this is back a couple metas ago. The Refresher's Orb being built by an Oblivion Staff and a Perseverance instead of just two Perseveri or Perseverances, whatever you want to call it. Meanwhile, still not sure what it's going to be. Okay, it is built onto an Orchid onto the Weaver, so that one is still being built out of an Oblivion Staff. And that'll help a lot, again, versus that Ember. And this may be becoming a bit of a problem for the Dire. Again, we know that Ember doesn't exactly push very well until he's like 7-slotted and super farmed, but now the fact that they have a silence on him makes him even more useless. I mean, okay, I guess not useless. He's never been useless, but can effectively take him out of a fight, especially if he doesn't go for a BKB or a Manta style. Having to deal with silences like that is game-breaking. It's one of the things that an Ember has to constantly be wary of, or else, you know, you find yourself in situations where you try pushing, you try fighting, you get silenced in the back of the fight, and one of two scenarios happen. You either just get picked off because you can't move, you have zero mobility, or your team dies, and you can't 1v5, especially into an Orchid that has a fairly low cooldown. Looks like Fearchen, AQ, they all make their way out onto a puck. They want the duel, but it gets canceled by the Lincoln Sphere, or at least that's what it looked like. They pop, yep, Lincoln Sphere blocking out the duel there. And so Fresh D still stuck at the 110 damage that we saw very near to 5-10 minutes ago. If he can't continue finding this damage like that, I mean, we said it, if he slows down, that's the death of him. They need to constantly be able to apply this pressure, get the dual wins out onto him. And then they'll probably have a decent time in this game. I mean, even though Legion Commander can be a bit of a glass cannon, having a Legion that deals rapier-like damage without a rapier is
Radiant's top
it's
tower's
incredibly
in bad
strong.
shape.
So Legion will build into that BKB, hitting for a pretty sizable amount of damage, though struggling to find the ability to stay in and sustain versus that Ursa. Speaking of, Forsaken will make his way in. An immediate Remnant out from Mr. Zero, though. Who will now begin to push in a little bit onto the bottom lane. Top pushing in as well.
Tower's taking hits.
Looks like a Dire. Another slow siege coming out for them. This time, though, spread onto two fronts. Forsaken, he can't be both places at once. And looks like Fearchen looks for PNE Kex. Might be in a little bit of trouble, though. They need to find that Hex on him, and it looks like Buzzy B cannot close the distance. Instead, Fearchen staying on the bottom lane for now. And once one engagement breaks out, that's when Dire pushed the other tower. I mean, you can already see Fearchen, he's starting to notice people rotating up top, so he makes his way into the tier 3 bottom, and he'll start dealing some damage to that. Meanwhile, Radiant, preoccupied protecting their top lane, might see their bottom lane go down, but Forsaken comes in and brings down Fresh D immediately. Though their racks are going down, it looks like they don't care. They'll bring down Caulk as well. Looking at the racks, they pop the glyph, and now they hightail it back to their base, but they're leaving Forsaken in. They won the fight. Guardian Angel comes out. It defends all powers and also heals. Or I guess it's supposed to heal. At this point, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they passed that on already. Forsaken taking a lot of damage. The bottom racks go down. It's the melee racks too. We're not quite able to see because, I mean, okay, lots of things are going really weird here. This is apparently being marked as a tower, which makes zero sense. What's this? These are both towers. Do we have that same bug for the Dire? Nope, their barracks are labeled correctly. That's a tower. Tower. These barracks are named correctly. These barracks are named correctly. Okay. What's this? That's a tower. Tower. Okay, so apparently the Ancient is a melee barracks. This Ancient is a melee barracks. Tower, tower. That's a tower. That's a tower. All these are towers. That's just a building. That's generic building. No one cares what it actually is. So what is this a building as well? Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, we already looked at this one. Okay. What does that make this? Yeah, towers as well. All right, so I think we've established that there's some pretty weird jazz going on here. But for the moment, I guess in the end it doesn't entirely matter. And so, the Radiant will continue. Now, a Refresher's Orb being completed by the Zeus. Dire, meanwhile, looking for Roshan, will respawn in a minute 42. Okay. Okay. What? Really? Really? Okay, Observer Wards are Harpy Scouts. Sentry Wards are Harpy Stormcrafters. Or at least the Ancient Draken Armorer. I feel like that's actually the thing. Nope, these guys are Frozen Sigils. I don't know. The Centaurs are Frozen Sigils. This is a Mud Golem. Ancient Draken Sentinel. And a Hellbear Smasher. What's this guy? A Wildwing? That's obviously a Wildwing. There's our Wildwing Rippers. Very nice. I know there's a push going down bottom. Oh my god. That's at least the heroes are named correctly, right? Thunder God's Wrath will come out. It looks like immediately remnanting out as the second Thunder God's Wrath. That is that Refresher's Orb. Now Fearchick trying to deal some damage, but he's getting stunned up, trying to fight, but Forsaken's just too strong for him. In the back lines, it's going to be a Supernova, calling a Rock Lair, whatever the hell that is. But Forsaken, after the rock ends, he'll go on in. Tries to find Calc as Mr. Zero, getting himself out of there. And the chase will continue. As Calc will be brought down as well. NPC Dota Thinker. Is that a hero? Huh.
How about that?
Whatever. Oh my god. I'm getting too preoccupied here. Whatever the case, AQ will go down to Weaver.
The Dire might want to find their top tower.
Okay, I found the fountains,
Top
guys.
tower's gone.
I found the fountains. These guys are fountains. I'm trying to find the Ancient, though. Where are the Ancients? Roshan's a lesser Eidolon. Jesus Christ. So what's an Ancient? These guys are Frozen Sigils. That's an Astral Spirit, hence the weird thing. That's a Kobold. That's a Centaur Conqueror with a Centaur Courser. Still Ancient Draken Armorers, Ancient Rock Golem. More Frozen Sigils. Where's the Ancient? I think the Ancients are the Seed Creeps. Either way, Zero. Gonna get stunned up, trying to go for the Aegis stash. Doesn't get it. In fact, Ursa will pick it up. Fearchen makes his way in, pops the BKB, pops the Mask of Madness, but he's getting brought down as well. He just can't hit Forsaken.
2 down.
Too much damage to deal with. Not enough time to deal your own. And I guess the unfortunate thing about this game is that, I mean, again, you just can't deal much to this Ursa. He's gotten so far ahead. What the f?
Weren't partial to that mid tower.
Okay, Forsaken will be on the run, but he does have an Aegis, so even if he does get brought down, he's still going to live. And it looks like they will. They'll dive in to bring him down. AQ's now a little bit out of position. Forsaken turns, blinks himself away, and it looks like the Dire aren't going to get anything off this one. Looks like the Radiant may turn around. Maybe they go for another kill here.
Dire's top tower's getting beat down.
As Forsaken will make his way up towards the high ground. He actually gets straight up onto the high ground. Deals the damage he needs to. Now Ember Spirit comes on him trying to stun off Forsaken, but he's got the repel on him, so he's not really caring that much about it.
Dire's bottom tower's getting the business.
It looks like all the meanwhile, Epec is starting to lay into that bottom tier 3 tower. And he's dealing a pretty significant amount of damage too. He's got a BKB on him, as well as looks like he's going for a Desolator, so. Radiant, they can just back up, reset, and maybe go again. And no time at all. Dire just having a little bit of issues here. Mega range creep. God damn it. Is the courier still a courier? Nope, the courier is an ancient Black Drake. What's the shop owner? Nothing. The Aegis of Champions is a spin web. The fountain is the ancient. The Dire fountain is the Radiant Ancient. So that means the Radiant fountain is the Dire's ancient. Nope, it's the Radiant Ancient as well. This still the spin web? It is. Well, I don't know what I'm expecting. I keep checking all these things and expecting something different. And each and every time I'm just reminded that this is just weird. I just don't know. We're 50 minutes into the game. The score is 40-40 right now. We can take another look back at the grabs, and you can see a little bit of like the Appalachian Mountains here, like a couple of low ones, and then you get your major mountain, and maybe it'll come back down, maybe not. But as far as this game goes, it looks like the Dire have all the momentum, or the Radiant have all the momentum in the world, and the Dire are just struggling to find their footing again. So, still at 110 damage stolen from duels. Going for a Scotty on the Ember Spirit. Makes him starve a little bit for damage, though. Gives him some extra tankiness. Maybe to help him fight. But it's not quite enough to really say you can... Like, you can never go in and just fight as an Ember Spirit. It doesn't happen. Your hero doesn't work that way. And maybe I could see if you're like super far ahead, can get a Scotty at 10 minutes and can get like massive attack speed, maybe even a basher or something like that, then maybe you end up with a pretty decent man fighter. But for the time being, he doesn't man fight. He never has and never will be able to man fight. That's not the hero he is. That was never the design of the hero that he was. Instead, he's going to walk head-on into the Radiant. Gets silenced up, though they can't quite deal enough damage to him. It looks like the Orchid came from a pretty long ways away, so Epec not able to chase. Instead, he'll throw a Swarm out. Gets a decent amount of damage off. What are the Swarm units? I guess I can't read it off. Maybe I can. Nope. Regardless, gets a Swarm off, but they all get eliminated. Now the Dire will begin to push in through the middle lane. Or at least they're grouped up in the middle lane. Maybe they push, maybe they don't. Bebozy B grabbing an Aghanim Scepter in the meantime. He also has a Dagon ready. And Fearchen up towards the top lane. Looking to try to bring down Epec, and looks like he won't be able to. In the end, Dire... They're looking for fights, but they're just not quite able to find him. And so both teams will kind of slow it down, staring at each other from a distance away. Dire going through the Radiant's jungle, trying to take control of this map right now. Meanwhile, Radiant corded up in their base, though they do have a lot of confidence in this game. It feels like they're taking that confidence and they're playing with it carefully. They don't want to end up like the Dire. They don't want to throw away a major lead. And in the end, like they know that this game is in their favor. If they continue taking really good high ground defenses, then hell, I mean, they could win this game in maybe 10 to 15 minutes. There's no reason to play fast when you can play it slow and carefully. Dire, though, they have to be getting antsy at this point. This game's gone 30 minutes past how long it should have. And already where Fresh D is being obligated, or feels obligated to buy himself a Diffusal Blade just to deal with an Omni Knight. I mean, if they can bring down the Ursa, they can win this game. I mean, Weaver's still a threat, so maybe not, but it's a step in the right direction, and maybe they can't even take that step. It looks like they're going to catch out on the AQ, or sorry, Fear Chen. Goes out with the Orchid of Malevolence. Fear Chen trying to run away. A big ball of red lightning. Thunder God's Wrath flying through though. Fresh D looking for the duel. Will get blocked out again by that Lincoln Sphere. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Their structures. Radiant
will lose their bottom range tracks in the meantime. But in the end, not much of value was lost. Just kind of losing track of what's going on in this game, or at least in their bottom lane. Though Lion going ahead and bringing down a whole chunk of them with one Finger of Death. Getting significant gold off the back of it too. He's got a level 3 Dagon to his name. So he can deal a lot of damage between the Finger of Death dealing 850, the Dagon dealing 600. We're looking at 1450 magic damage after it all comes out. That's a hell of a lot of magical damage. Begin to chip away at this mid lane. So Dire making their way on in. Avalanche flies out, but they can't get a combo off. Instead, they'll chase in the EPEC. They'll go out with the Hex. Comes in, slows down the Fresh D, and it looks like he'll be brought down. No chance to duel. A GA, 2 ultimates. Thunder God's Wrath are coming out, but neither one really doing that much.
Top tower's in bad shape.
EPEC, though, is on the chase. AQ taking a lot of damage, about 300 from each right click, and he'll get brought down. Though the Orchid flies out for the end of that little skirmish there, isn't out for the Ember Spirit. Doesn't matter, the Radiant are going to begin to mount their push in towards the mid lane again. Cal will grab an Illusion Room. Forsaken trying to chase, though he does have a Mask of Mats. Doesn't even matter that he gets Rod of Atos. He'll just bring down Kalk, no time at all. Zero comes in, looking to try to save his Phoenix, but I wouldn't even say it's too little too late, it's just too little. Radiant now will make their way in, looking to finally bring down these racks, and maybe even look to take the game right here. 30 seconds before they even have to worry about any major defense. Now that a glyph is being spent, they can just start to lay into this one now. They'll go in, Forsaken, dealing a pretty sizable chunk of damage, about 200. But he isn't that enraged, so getting a little bit more, though we don't see it because I think the replay's bugged. I still think that's the way it is, but regardless, the top racks will start to be pressured on the Dire side of the map. They could probably take another set of racks here, but they back themselves off. Instead, they want to defend. They lose their top tier 3, but in comes Forsaken, just looking to bring him down. Now, Crag Exterior is hurting Forsaken so much, but an Avalanche Toss combo isn't proving to be a whole hell of a lot. Now, Busy P is waiting, going to throw out the Finger of Death, and will bring down the tiny Fear Chen, getting absolutely destroyed. And that BKB only really working when it's up. When it's not, you're just kind of screwed. Especially by a hero like a Lion. Just does so much. He's kind of like an Earthshaker. If you don't have a BKB, Lion will just play with you. Got so much lockdown on a pretty low cooldown. 12 seconds for both of his Hex and his stun.
Radiant's top rags is running out of time.
He just kind of holds you down. And I mean, if we take a look at the downtime of his lockdown, oh, hold on. It's going to be Forsaken going on into Mr. Zero. Kalk and HQ or AQ close behind. But if we look at the downtime of his lockdown, right? I mean, he's got 2 seconds stun, 2.5 seconds stun, 4 seconds of Hex. So if you pop a stun and you pop a Hex, you've only got six seconds before your stun is back. So it's looking pretty good. Having that very low amount of downtime between anything. it looks like they'll make their way. Dire goes into the Roshan again. They want to grab another Aegis for themselves. Fresh D will start laying into it as well. And Radiant, they don't make any attempt to push into it. Instead, and now we're into the game. They're just going to let the Dire get an Aegis and cheese. It looks like Forsaken is making his way down, but I guess not. They give up the Roshan, the Dire, take a quick and easy Aegis cheese, and now maybe they push themselves a little bit more. Maybe try to exert a little bit more pressure. We've seen every single time they've been able to slow siege out, but none of the times have they been able to really break the base. They were getting close in the top lane. The melee barracks full HP because it regens, but the ranged barracks at about half, and they're both exposed. Meanwhile, the mid lane, the tier 3 is still very healthy. May remain so, though, too, for a long time. We'll have to see how these next couple of engagements go. Ursa, after having finished his heart, went for that Boots of Travel, though I can't imagine. Maybe he's probably going for a BKB next. P4NE Kex has got the Refresher's Orb, has got the Aghanim Scepter, now going for a Bloodstone. 486 YPE adds Refresher on the hand. That's very good to have. Weaver did finish his Desolator, now went for a Mjolnir. I mean, lots and lots of gold, lots and lots of farm on the Dire Radiant right now. Lion does have the mechanism, has the Dagon, has the Aghanim Scepter. Meanwhile, what is the Dire looking for right now? Mr. Zero has got the 2 Daedalus. He might be in a little bit of trouble, though. They're looking, they cancel his Lifted Sphere. Then they get the duel off on him. He gets brought down. 100 seconds, no buyback. And that was a pretty good duel attempt there. I don't know what they used to pop his Aegis. Mr. Zero doesn't have anything to pop Aegis with, and a Diffusal Blade charge hadn't been used. Whatever the case, Dire are now pushing in with a pretty significant man advantage. They're on the top lane. They're going to go ahead. Fearstorm gets brought down, but he's back again. Kalk pops a Supernova. And now they push into the top lane. The mid taking a lot of harass, though. The actual fight, though, is Fearstorm laying into the racks and a Glyph will get popped in. Looks like the top racks will get brought down. No, they've got the Guardian Angel. The racks are healing up. Be through it. But still, the Dire hasn't really been doing too much counter push here, or pushing here. Looks like they'll go in. Fearchen goes in further at Forsaken. Or, sorry, Forsaken goes in for Fearchen. Fresh T is going to get brought down, though. And now, finally, a Guardian Angel. Forsaken trying to turn and fight. He gets Fearchen. This Zero is also trying to fight here. But that's a Guardian Angel again on this top racks. Now it will get brought down. It ends up being a 2-for-1. But that one, the Weaver, was a while ago, so whether or not it's really a 2-for-1, Rubik didn't actually steal Vacuum. Sorry, he got Guardian, no, he got Repel. But with all said and done, the Dire, they get 2 racks off of that fight. Forsaken, though, he's looking for Zero, gets the Abyssal Blade. Does he have any sort of way to remnant out? He does not. Forsaken, he pops the cheese. Zero's out of there. Forsaken doesn't continue the chase. Maybe he thought he had gotten the kill there and backs himself off. So Ember Spirit getting away. Forsaken not able to chase him down. Instead makes his way slowly over to the Dire's base. They have that mid racks down. So the mid lane isn't quite their target, though. They can push mid. Hold on, Zero. In a lot of trouble. Forsaken's running him down. One more swipe is all he's going to take. He'll bring him down. Does have buyback. But in the end, forcing him to pop a buyback would be massive. To stop him from getting farm. But it looks like the Radiant not opting to push right now. Instead, they're going to play the slow game. They're going to play the safe game. Still with 2 racks to bring down. They're down a whole set.
Invisibility.
Looks like Ursa will get his BKB. and maybe begin to make his way up towards the high ground. Pops himself up with the Mjolnir. In comes AQ though, and the Fresh D. Buzzy Bub is looking for the Hex, looking for the Earthspike, anything he can get off that one, but isn't able to find it. And the Radiant, again with this push in towards the mid. Still no major buildings for them to take out, but if they can win a fight, they can end the game right here. Forsaken will jump on up. They pop out the duel on the 4SDK height, but if they can get the win off, it'd be huge. They don't get the duel win. However, they do still get him. Kalk on the run. Thunder God's route number 2 will deal a significant amount of damage as Kalk at about half HP. And it looks like the Radiant, they don't care about the other same lanes of racks. They want to go straight after those tier 4s. Bubuzzy B will get brought down in the meantime. And at the end of the day, it looks like the Radiant not able to pull too much out of that engagement. They didn't force any buybacks.
8 in a row.
They didn't get any kills, or maybe they did. Ursa, Forsaken, finds Fearchen in his own base. Perhaps trying to do some damage to a tier 4 tower. Not quite the place you want to be, Forsaken or Fearchen. Getting a little over-aggressive in this game, thinking, I can end it right now if I were to walk over to that Ancient and start hitting it, but the truth of the matter is, he couldn't end it. He didn't end it, and now he's down for 60 seconds. Giving the Radiant ample place to farm, ample place to catch, and not catch up, they're already ahead, but continue to pad their lead with more items, more gold and experience, and more room to play. AQ revealing onto the creeps. Looks like Forsaken trying to find that Abyssal Blade, but isn't quite able to do it. 7 seconds before he can blink again, but the rest of the Dire have made themselves apparent in this lane. And it looks like the Radiant begin their push down mid. Once again, 65 minutes into the game. Forsaken will be in rage. Does he have any vision up on the high ground? No, in fact, he's fully spotted out by the Dire. Though they're still hanging close to this downhill stairway.
No sorceries avail.
Now Mjolnir, or Repel. Still has BKB if he needs it. He looks for kills, but isn't able to find them. Instead, the Mjolnir not really doing too much there. The Repel doesn't have quite as long as a cooldown. And the Radiant, now they begin a slow siege of their own. Pushing in towards the mid. Maybe they find a kill here. Maybe they find anything. It doesn't look like they're able to do too much right now. Or at least they're just not trying. Top lane. P for any Lux, or P for any Kex. Does he have a boot of travel? No, he does not. He opted for that Dagon. So he's got no way of coming into the fray if Radiant take a fight. Radiant know this, they back themselves off. And now the Radiant, they go right back to farming the Dire. Looks like they want to be the aggressive ones, though. Roshan will be back up in about 2 minutes. So that's not an option for them. And instead, without a smoke, they make their way into the Radiant jungle. Though there's no vision spotting them out right here. And maybe they can extrapolate that by the movement of the Radiant, though they have, I don't think they have any idea where the Radiant is either. Yeah, no Radiant heroes in the map except for the top lane. And so Dire again taking this opportunity to exert pressure and to farm. The Radiant not quite farming at a massive speed. You can see the Tiny, or rather the Ursa, is close. He's at the top, or at top 3 of the net worth. But he's not an incredible amount ahead of the Dire. Neither really is the Weaver. So neither one of them have quite pressed the war of attrition that hard. Instead, opting more just to fight, not to farm. And so Dire, maybe now they start to push this one, and maybe they want to try to end this game. We're 67 minutes in. and not a single indication of when or how this game is going to end, though. We have been getting multiple tastes by some of these fights, losses, split pushes, whatnot. The Radiant, though, playing it safe, playing it still. The Dire as well, safe and still. And no team wants to fight. Dire is even going so far as to not really do much at all. I mean, our Legion Commander's got no more items than she did 10 minutes ago. Perhaps even a BKB would be a new item for her, but Phoenix as well, not really any majorly new items. Thundergod's Wrath, though, comes out. They just scout out with that one, not looking to take an engagement off the back of it. Now the Dire, they push on in to the Roshan pit. Radiant, not sure this is going on. The issue with this, again, another Aegis and Cheese going the way of the Dire. These are the kind of things that Ursa really wants.
Old Roche won't be coming back.
Now with Roche going down, Aegis goes the way of Zero. Calc will pick up the Cheese. Meanwhile, Epeka will push up to the high ground, maybe trying to get some pressure exerted. They throw out the Avalanche Toss combo. Are they quite able to stop him? No, a Guardian Angel. Telekinesis up, brings him back down. He'll scooch himself away. But right under the arms of Fresh D. They'll turn around, they'll bring him down. Another duel win for Fresh D, 146. And so, he'll press the attack, move on in towards the mid. Rubik, meanwhile, finding an Aghanim Scepter of his own. And no apparent close to this game. A buyback on the Weaver. Interesting maneuver. Won't have it for now another 6 or so minutes. And maybe it's to dissuade the Dire from pushing really that hard in. But I don't think they have much to worry about. There hasn't been much pushing going on in this game. Maybe they will, though, the Dire. Now threatening, though not completely. Tiny sending illusions up, the little blue cubes. It looks like the mid-tier 1 will, mid-tier 3 will still stand pretty healthy. M0. He takes the Thunder God's Wrath, but not much else. And a very slow game thus far as we round about the 70-minute mark. Your team really wants to fight. And overwhelming odds comes out. Press the attack on a 0. Nothing from the God's Wrath comes out. Forsaken. He wants Fear Chen. Is able to find them. Instead, they're looking to turn around under their AQ or their Fresh D. But it looks like the first one to go down will be Kalk. As Mr. Zero will run himself away, but gets bashed. And Hex will get brought down. 100 seconds does have buyback, but a major win for the Radiant. But they don't push off it. They can't push off it. The top lane is pushing in. Their bottom lane is pushing in. And mid lane, I mean, you push that in, but you don't have much to take. Now you can rotate to another lane and go after the tower. That could be their plan here. I mean, it might have to be their plan. There's no way they're pushing out the outer towers fast enough. And so the Radiant will TP themselves in towards the mid. They really want to end this game right now. We're 71, 72 minutes in. Something's got to give. And so the Radiant will begin their push. Can they continue this one, though? Are they going to go up and go after another Rax, or are they going to go straight in for the tier 4s? Who knows? All I do is that a blink out will save AQ's life. And now Forsaken starts laying into those tier 4s. Meanwhile, Earthspike getting stolen by the Fear Chen blinks in, and immediately heads no. He's just invisible. Trying to chase out onto B Buzzy B, gets him. Now Fresh D in a little bit of trouble with Forsaken, man fighting with him. And actually looks like Fresh D will be the one to bring him down for Forsaken or Fear Chen. Brings him down in the end. A double buyback from the Radiant. The Dire, they hold their mid. And now they can push on their own. going after the mid tier 2, tier 3, going after the mega creeps, and hopefully ending the game right there. But the Radiant are prepared. They're in towards the mid, looking to deal whatever damage they can. Fear Chain comes around the bend. All they need to do is bring down this tier 3. There's 2 down with no buyback. And here they go. Throw down the creep wave, make their way up towards the high ground, and then try to bring down this tier 3 as fast as possible. A glyph will be used, but that glyph now will be down for a good chunk of time. And they will bring down that tier 3. A Guardian Angel flies out, but a little bit late. Now in comes Forsaken, looking to bring down Fresh P. Will bring him down in the end. In comes Slender God's Wrath. Was that number 1, number 2, or both? It looks like it was just number 2. And the Dire, though they get the tier 3, it looks like maybe that's where they have to back off. Zero turns around, deals some damage, but the Dire isn't committing to anything just yet. As Legion Commander buys back in this game, maybe Dire, they want to go in ahead. Go in again. They want this Rex. They want it so bad. Forsaken comes in. Him going down would be huge here. Cal comes out, but it looks like Forsaken will grab one. Turns into Cal. Cal will pop the cheese. Another Guardian Angel flies out. And the Dire, they now turn tail and run completely. But will they get brought down on the run? Cal will get taken out by a finger of death. Mr. Zero is in close, but not going to fight. Now Hex on the Forsaken, as there's going to be an impale. Fresh D taking a little bit of damage. He pops a BKB. Can't go down there and won't. And the Radiant will go right back to defending. Forsaken doing everything he can right now just to keep his team in the game. I mean, they're all playing pretty well, but Forsaken can't argue that he's been the keystone to a lot of what's holding up this this immense force that Dire is able to pressure them with. And he'll go straight into a Shadow Blade. No signs still of this game coming to a close. The Radiant looking for pushes but aren't able to find them. The Dire looking for pressure but isn't able to exert it. You can see this mid-rack still standing. Very healthy thanks to the double Guardian Angel healing them nearly back to full. Though he's taking a bit of damage going down here would be huge, but Forsaken's laying into Fear Check. He'll bring down a Tiny with 99 seconds buyback available. Where else are we? Only one more buyback is in the game. It's actually the one that went down. Fearchen, the only one with buyback, will pop it. Closing out a now buybackless game. Radiant losing this fight would be devastating. So they must play this very carefully and almost not play at all. Looks like they're backing themselves off. Don't want to fight it. And they'll go all the way back to their base. Dire locked in all the way back in their base. And still no indication of the final push coming out. Roshan will see him back up in about a minute's time, plus the randomized timer. Double Guardian Angel up in 20 seconds in time and change. Lion with Dagon 5, yep. Now go to his next item, maybe go for the Ethereal Blade. I wouldn't blame him. Forsaken now leading the pack. Maybe they target Roshan right now, but it looks like Forsaken is just going to try to farm. No. Not even sure what he's doing. He's kind of doing the back and forth, not farming, not fighting. Instead, just kind of hanging out. Maybe we'll clash head on into the Dire right now. Could be in a lot of trouble if he goes for this. Goes into zero, but now is in a lot of pain. Maybe. Do they have repel? He pops a BKB. So he'll be fine. The Dire, that was another chance they had to start winning this game. Looks like Weaver's going to have a buyback now as well. And so, the Dire, they're pushed back a little bit. And again, very, very hard to pin down when we'll actually see something happen. The Radiant just can defend this one lane so well. It's the benefit of having only one lane left, is that if things go awry, you just defend that one lane. Dire grouping around the Roche pit. Little do they know it's back up in a minute and a half. Radiant will do the same thing as well. Maybe group up around the Roche pit, waiting for that Roshan. Yeah, with Forsaken leading the pack. Nope, turns around, goes right into the jungle. And the Thunder God's Wrath will come out. Kind of gives away the positioning of Dire, but not giving away their intent. Repel comes out into Forsaken. Neither team can fight right now. Instead, we're just getting a bit of a slap fest either way. Neither team really putting that much on the other, just kind of like a slow slap to the cheek. All right, we've had enough of you. Now we'll move on to the next fight. Looks like Forsaken wants a bit of a pause, but Radiant not really keen to give it to him. Maybe we will. Regardless, this game going very long, 80 minutes now into this game and not slowing down anytime soon. No clear winner. No clear way for any team to win. Just kind of happening. I really wonder what these players must be thinking right now. We're sitting 8 minutes into a game. Things are looking very dreary across the map. Neither team able to close it out quite definitively. And so, looks like Dire will grab another Aegis for themselves. This has got to be, what, the sixth or seventh Aegis in the game? Or Roshan kill, rather? I guess both mean the same thing, but Jesus, there's a lot going on this game so far. Zero will grab the cheese, Fearchen with the Aegis, and now maybe they push and push to end. 2 Guardian Angels and a Glyph to be spent by the Radiant, though. Which almost begs the question, will what the Dire have be enough at all? I'm not even sure they can get close. It looks like Fearchen hanging back will probably make his way in. Didn't There's already had a Blink Dagger. Looks like he may have sold it for the Shadow Blade, realizing the Shadow Blade may not have been a great idea. We'll cycle back to the Blink. Hex out on the Fearchen. They pop a Lightning strike as well, and meanwhile the mid lane taking some damage from Mr. Zero, but getting counter pushed by Epic. And once again, Dire with a slow siege, still not pushing in too heavily. Now Forsaken comes on in, looking for Mr. Zero. Won't connect onto him. That's a Blink Dagger and Enrage used. So low cooldown, low downtime rather on the Enrage. What we got here? Looks like these racks will finally go down. Looks like Dire have pulled themselves off some Mega Creeps, but the Glyph comes out. They still have 2 Guardian Angels. Now the double Thunder God's Wrath comes out. Forsaken trying to lay into Fearchen, but Green Crag Exterior will now bring him down. One of the Tiny's down. He'll come back in with an Aegis of Mortality, but it looks like he might go down again. No, he gets himself away in the meantime. Guardian Angel flies out for the Radiant, just trying to get themselves away, and they will do so. Dire losing 2 in the process of this engagement. EPEC goes down, 99 seconds, because that buyback will immediately spend it. Looks like, at the moment, the Radiant hold again. 82 minutes in, but an Orchid comes down to Mr. Zero. Can Mr. Zero actually bring him down? Does not look like it. They can stun him up, though. They can try to bring him down themselves, and they will, but Forsaken comes in. He wants Fearchen, won't find him. No bashes out on the Tiny, who will TP himself back to base. And once again, Radiant hold, and once again, game nowhere close to being over. 83 minutes
Radiant's
in,
mid-tower's getting
and we
banged
still
up.
don't have a definitive fight, though, in the mid lane. Maybe we find it. Kalk, he can't go down here. He does have buyback, so I guess he can. We'll get brought down 80 seconds, but does have buyback.
The rune of regeneration.
Meanwhile, the mid taking some damage
Radiant's mid-tower's
everywhere.
getting
Like
banged up.
both side lanes pushing in is a bit brutal for the Radiant. As Ember Spirit will grab the first rapier of the game. 2 Daedalus, a Battle Fury, Scotty rapier.
Radiant's mid-tower could use a hand.
And maybe he can defend this push all by himself.
Radiant's mid-tower's
He'll
getting
go in.
what
He might
for?
just be able to bring down them both without them much saying, but he's got the Sight of Fist, doesn't use it. Instead, do the Radiant even know he's got the rapier yet? They have to have an idea, but they don't quite know just yet.
Omniscience.
Instead, they'll slow siege. A lot of damage coming out, though. Go. Ubuzzy B will go straight on in. If they can bring him down, this would be huge. Abyssal Blade out. They need to save his life. He'll remnant back away. Meanwhile, Fear Chen, he's got a Slight Device. Will pop it out, but a little too late. Now a counter Hex comes out, but it's going to be repelled. Ubuzzy B isn't close by. Will go for the air spike, but isn't able to find it. Fear Chen now chasing. Can they get the telekinesis off? They've got it. They just need to find it. They get them with the Rod of Atos, and they'll bring him down. Dire, another defense for them.
Illusion.
And the Radiant, another problematic encounter. And just like that, we could take a look at the grass, but it doesn't say much. We're just, I don't even know anymore. The Dire could end up winning it right here, right now. They've got that rapier. They just need to be careful not to lose it. One bad engagement, and they can just straight up lose right here. Ember Spirit will host a rapier or a remnant back.
Radiant's
They need to be
mid
very
lane's taking
careful.
some punishment.
If he gets Orchid, he gets Hex, he could drop. They need to be absolutely sure they've got their 4 stabs. They got everything they have to use ready for him. But in comes Forsaken. Will bring down AQ. That's pretty big for them. EPEC comes in again. And the Searing Chains comes out. EPEC taking a lot of damage. We'll get Hex. We'll get dueled. And we'll get brought down. Dire. One step closer to winning this game right now. Looks like the Searing Chains comes out on the both Purani Kex and the 4 Hype K. They still haven't committed fully to these racks just yet, though. Instead of hanging back. But in comes Finish the destroying 4C6K Hype, whatever his name is. They'll bring down the final 2 sets of racks. There is very little that the Radiant have to defend this game. The Ancient comes back to Earth, and in the blink of an eye, it looks like the Dire have just rocketed back into this game. Remnant's away, then Zero comes right back in. The Kex gets brought down, and the Ancient short to follow suit. GG, well played. What was a long, arduous task for the Radiant to slowly bring this one back and almost taste victory. Looks like in the end, the Dire were able to take their throw, flip it around, and grab a win here. So great game, well played, good showing by the Dire team. This is Chicago Ted with the Golden Aegis Cast Series. If you're watching this on stream, thanks for joining me. If you're watching it on a replay, thanks for catching it. Feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, whatever the typical YouTube banter is. If you want your own replay casted, you can go check out the description of this video or even on the live stream right below said streams. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you all next time.